everyone. My name is Evie Lupine. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have another video for you all. Today we are going to be talking about some of my best dungeon tips and tricks. And you know what? Normally when you hear dungeon advice, it's all very good, boring stuff. It's like, stay hydrated, bring a change of clothes, eat a good meal the night before, all of that, whatever. And that's great advice, it's fine, but like I said, it's kind of boring. Whereas what I've done is over the last almost decade, I have collected a series of increasingly niche little tips and things that I find to be very helpful for the dungeon. And for the right person, when you hear one of these ideas, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this changes everything. Thank you so much. I had no idea this was a possibility at all. And I hope that it'll be helpful. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about some of my dungeon secrets that I've not really talked about in videos before, because a lot of them are so random that I don't even know how I would fit them into another video topic. So we're going to be getting into that. And the first thing that I want to talk about is the newest one on this list. And I discovered this because I have chronic dry mouth, which makes doing YouTube videos for a living really fun. You guys don't know this, but actually normally off camera, I have like a mug of tea the entire time that I'm filming because I have dry mouth. And that also causes problems sometimes when you're playing with gags or doing other things. And recently with a partner, I discovered this thing that also is apparently taking TikTok by storm, allegedly, which are called Flintts Mints. And they're not just regular mints. They are essentially these little tiny, almost like Altoid sized things that you put in your mouth that's made with a plant extract from the sunflower family that makes you drool like crazy. Of course, it depends. There's different strengths and intensity levels of this type of mint, but they work really well. And I can kind of guess what vanilla people would use it for, but in a kink setting, so many good uses for this. People love drool. If you like doing the thing where you have like an open ring gag or like a chopstick gag where like the tongue's out, or you put like clips or clamps on the tongue and you really want to make a lot of drool go, use one of these mints. If you want to get a really good spit shine on a pair of boots, use these mints. If you like drooling for roleplay reasons because, you know, you're a pet player and you play like a big slobbery giant dog, like this is a great option for that. If you like the humiliation of it, if you want to be able to spit on people, you're like you're that one person from R100, which like 5 people are going to get that reference if they've ever seen that movie before. If you want to be able to spit, like the master of spitting, this is the way to get that job done. And also, it is obviously going to be good for things like actual dry mouth. Like if you are somebody like me who has dry mouth and you want to be able to enjoy wearing a gag more, this is going to be a good option for it. Or if you do things in kink that cause you to get dry mouth, like if you are someone that wears like a lot of like fabric gags or bandanas where your mouth is getting dried out because all the spit is being absorbed, this is a good thing to use with aftercare to help your mouth basically like re-moisturize itself. So lots of good uses for these mints, and they're pretty affordable. Of course, they are kind of a very random product, but again, for the right person, I think that this is going to be something that is really enjoyable. You can also vary the way you use this to get different effects. I've never felt this, but people do say that it causes like a tingly feeling in the mouth, like a sparkle, I think is what they call on the website. And if you chew it, it creates a more intense sensation. Whereas if you just want lots of drool, kind of stick it in your cheek pocket and then let the drool build up from there. So just a fun little tool, lots of different ways to use that. And I think more people should know about it. So there you go. All right, number 2 is something that I've probably mentioned before, maybe in like convention videos or something, but that literally has changed my life, and I need everyone to know about it, so I'm talking about it again. This is magnesium lotion. This is, you know, if you ever read the fantasy in like the Spanko novels or whatever about getting a spanking and then you put on lotion for aftercare, most lotion kind of useless, okay? It's a little moisturizing, it can sting if it has fragrance in it. Doesn't really do a whole lot. This does a whole lot because this actually has MSM and magnesium in it, and those actually can be absorbed transdermally through the skin, and magnesium is really good for muscle relaxation. And if you want the proof that this actually works, I was at a convention recently that was 3 full days long, okay? I was flying. I was sitting for hours all day. I was going from 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. pretty much every day. I did impact play pretty much every day. Everything from like the top of my butt to my knees were solid purple, and even like in my inner thighs too. Like it was a 360, like bruises everywhere in my legs, okay? And I applied this after every scene that I did before I went to bed. And then on Saturday morning and Sunday morning when I woke up, I applied this. And it helped so much. Normally, after that much impact play, I would be really sore. Like I would have trouble even walking or moving my legs because it'd be so sore from all the inflammation from having all those bruises happening on my legs. But this is just, by the way, this is just like random lotion from a local like farmer's market type brand. Just get some kind of magnesium cream, magnesium lotion, kind of all the same stuff. And this legitimately saved my butt, saved my thighs, saved everything. I could move. I could go to all my classes. I could go to a grappling class in like the afternoon of like the midpoint. Whereas normally I would be so sore. I could not practice grappling. That was not going to happen. And this let me get the most out of all the scenes that I did. And it's so good. So if you like the idea of like applying lotion or doing some kind of massage for aftercare, get more bang for your buck, get more out of the time you're spending on that, get some magnesium lotion if you need it. You can also do this as like a powder in a warm bath afterwards. I was at a hotel, so that wasn't really an option for me, but you can also get magnesium powder to like put into your bath water, and that also will help. And yeah, just magnesium. It's good stuff, y'all. It's really, really good, and it does actually super, super work. So next thing, another random little tip here. This is a robe. Bring a robe, okay? At Dark Odyssey Surrender, every cute person had a robe. It's a thing. People are doing it now. Bring a robe with you. And the reason why you want to bring a robe and not just a change of clothes is a change of clothes is really good for when you're going home. When you're getting in the car, you're walking down to the parking lot, whatever. You want to be warm. It's cold outside. You know, it's raining, whatever. Okay, great. But there's an in-between time when you're walking around the dungeon, either before you start the scene, or between scenes, or before you leave to go home. And either before you start a scene, you might be a little chilly, but you want people to see your cute outfit, so you don't want to be covered up with a big old coat, so robe. Or if you're between scenes, or you don't want to go home yet and you're socializing, but you want to be a little bit more covered up, put on a robe. Because if you've gotten all the way naked and you've got your clothes turned everywhere and you've got thigh highs, you've got a garter belt with like 6 clips on it, you want to put all that back on, I get it. Put on a robe instead. You'll be covered. You can be comfortable. They could be like mine where it's just really short and silky and it feels really nice on the skin and cooling. Or it could be a nice big fluffy robe to stay warm in if your dungeon tends to run a little bit on the cold side and you prefer to be warmer. But robes are really good because there have been so many times that I've been like, oh my gosh, I'm wearing this cute outfit and it's great. And like, I'll definitely want to put it back on after the scene's done. Like, I can make myself do that. It'll be fine. And then the scene happens and aftercare is done and I'm like, I gotta put my clothes back on. I'm grumpy about it. I don't want to put my clothes back on. So this is a solution for when you don't want to put clothes back on. Easy to pack in. Also, easy to double if you need a quick cover for maybe you're on a spanking bench or something and you forgot a sheet or something. Robe can double up as that cover if you need it to. So that's good for multiple reasons. All right. Next thing. This is like the second newest thing that I've discovered recently. Europeans, log out right now. All right, this is not for you, Europeans. You're going to be like, everyone knows about these. Evie, you're crazy. Get over yourself. Foam tampons, people. Foam tampons.
Okay, well, why do you have tampons in your boot?
I get really bad nosebleeds.
These are a thing in Europe. I remember seeing them when I was in Europe. I know that they're in like Germany and the Netherlands. These are actually from a German company. But in America, we don't have foam tampons. And you might be thinking, Evie, what the heck is a foam tampon? Why do I need that for a dungeon or a kink environment at all? Here's the deal. Basically, in America, we have diva cups, we have pads, we have tampons, and then we also have period panties and some other kind of like random things that some people will use. And none of those really work super great for a dungeon environment, okay? So, for example, if you have period panties, those aren't a cute look and you might want to take off your panties while you're doing a scene. Tampon, big old string hanging out. And sometimes that's fine, okay? No shame to the string, but it can get in the way. Last thing you want to do is do an impact play scene and have somebody accidentally pull out your tampon in the middle of it, okay? And then also you have pads, okay? Again, need the underwear to stay on. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe it doesn't mesh with your outfit. Maybe it's just not going to be something that helps you get into your scene space. All valid reasons. And also, some of those things, not always the most gender affirming, all right? Some people, if you're a mask, if you're a trans man, is a tampon that has a string sticking out gender affirming for you? Probably not. That's going to be my guess. Also, if you are somebody who uses a diva cup and that works for you, great, fantastic. For some people like me, I've tried a diva cup, all right? It's not happening. It's not working. I've never tried a diva cup that works. I can't get it in there. It's not, no thank you. Not happening. Can't make it work. Overkill, frankly, for me personally. But foam tampons are sort of like if you mix together a regular tampon with a diva cup. Because these don't actually need to have a string attached to them. There's an optional one in here, and they also pack super well in a little dungeon bag, okay? This, not a condom. Looks like a condom, super thin, super easy to pack, okay? Look at this. So tiny, super, just pop that in a purse, okay? You can take this anywhere. Also, anyone, any gender, should keep period products on them because you never know when a friend's going to need one. And what these do is essentially it looks kind of like a foam gummy bear. And it starts out really flat. You squish it up, stick it up inside there, okay? And it hangs out. And it absorbs, I would say, about the same amount as like between a regular and a super tampon. It lasts the whole day. I forget that it's in there. Super easy, super breezy. And the reason why these are really great for being in a BDSM dungeon is unless you have a really heavy flow, you need to change it, which, okay, cool. Like, if that's you, valid, fair, fine. But if you have more of a medium to light flow, you're going to basically forget that you have a period where on one of these. Like, I used this when I was at Dark Odyssey Surrender. Perfect, great. Completely forgot it was even in there. Partners forgot it was in there. Literally, feedback from this for people doing penetration with fingers, etc. You don't know that it's in there. It's like magic. You can't tell. You think ahead. You're like, oh no, I'm going to be able to tell. And then you get into it and you're like, nope, forgot it's in there. Can't tell. Now, if you are somebody who has weaker pelvic floor muscles, a little bit harder for you to be able to push this out on your own, you might want to use a string. But it's nice because there's no string hanging out. No risk you're accidentally going to pull it out in the middle of a scene because there's a string dangling somewhere that could get in the way and get caught by something. And nobody has to know they're on your period. And that's fun. That's sexy. Some people don't want everyone else to know that they're on their period. If you want people to know, that's great. If you don't, use one of these. And I'm going to actually open this up. I have to pay a lot to get these. A box asks me all the time because they really only use these for like special occasions because they're not like the most eco-friendly thing in the world because they are made out of foam. But most menstrual products in the United States are not the most eco-friendly, so it is what it is. But I have to pay quite a bit to get these. But if you are in Europe or in the UK, even in Canada probably, going to be cheaper for you to get one of these. So I'm going to open this up just so you can see, just to prove it, all right? This is not sponsored, by the way. This is just me being a believer. You guys can kind of see you guys can kind of see the outline of the gummy bear shape, right? That makes sense, gummy bear shape. So you just like squish this up, okay? You can see how big it is. All right, you just whoop, put it up there. You can have the string attached or not. And then when you're ready, you just stick a couple fingers up there, pull it out, and there you go, then you're done. And it's really great, it's really easy, works fantastic. Best menstrual product experience probably of my entire life. And as someone that has extremely random periods because thank you Nexplanon, these are now always going to be part of my dungeon kits because you don't want to like go to a whole weekend long event and then not be able to do the scenes you want to do because you didn't pack menstrual products because you weren't expecting to have a period or your partner wasn't expecting to have a period and now they can't do anything. Like, options, people, options. Love these are fantastic. Somebody, any company, please, Shebop, Spectrum Boutique, somebody, start importing these, make these more widely available. These are so useful. I don't know why these aren't a thing in America. I don't know why we don't have these here. These are so fantastic. Anyways, moving on, that's not going to be for everyone. So let me move on to something more general, which is an old school thing, also kind of a grooming tool, a styptic pencil. If you haven't heard of these before, they are more common if you're into like straight razor shaving or like if you're into barber stuff, you've been to a barber before. This is essentially a little white stick that is made out of, I believe it's aluminum or aluminium, if you please, sulfate. and it helps instantly clot very small cuts. And the reason why I like having this in a dungeon kit, especially one that's yours that you own, is sometimes, we're doing a scene. Let's say you're doing a whipping scene and somebody like nicks a mole or a freckle or something, and there's just like a little bit of blood, but it's in kind of like a weird spot, right? Where maybe you do a lot of movement, maybe it's kind of up by like a shoulder blade or something. And a bandage doesn't really want to stick there. You're really sweaty, all that stuff. Bandage, maybe not the most ideal solution. Plus, you want to be able to stop the bleeding as quickly as possible. And this little stick, essentially what you do, you get it slightly wet with some cool water, you roll it on the skin, and then it just stops the clotting when it's a really small cut. And then once it's dry, you can also put a Band-Aid over it, but it just works really well for those areas where either if you get a small nick, it bleeds out, like on the calf muscles, for example, on the shin, or it's just good for those areas where you can't really easily use a Band-Aid, or it's so small to where like a typical Band-Aid, like maybe you only have like big, like, giant honking Band-Aids, but the cut's like this big, and you want something to at least stop the bleeding until you get home. You have a different solution that maybe works better. And this just works really well for those little like oopsie moments where like a whip cracks the skin by accident, or just, you end up knocking into something you don't mean to, you get a little boo-boo. Works really well. You rinse it off, you let it dry, you store it again. Easy peasy. Super simple. I think it's a great thing to add on to a simple first aid kit and just to general have, around, because you never know when something's gonna happen and you want to have it around. It's not good for bigger cuts. Don't use it for that purpose. It's only for those really, really tiny, small incidental things. But, sometimes you're doing a scene and something happens and you scrape something and oopsie, you got a little cut on your leg, and that's a real pain if it's gonna keep bleeding the whole night. So just get it covered up, get it taken care of. Easy. Done. All right. Next thing I have here, I guess I'm just going to do all of the like health stuff, and then we have like one kind of random thing at the end here. So this is d-mannose. Remember I said this is all very niche. These are all very niche things. This is d-mannose, and this is for urinary tract health. And I don't even remember how I discovered this. I think I was trying to help a friend that has like chronic UTIs, and I did some research for them. And I discovered this. And again, you're going to be like, Evie, why do I... UTIs, kink, what dungeons, what's happening here? And the reason why I like this for kink is I know what we all get up to. I know about water sports, okay? I know the weird oral, anal with no condom on, okay? You guys do all kinds of things, and you get all bodily fluids everywhere, and it's around the urethra, okay? If you're gonna be mixing up lube, bodily fluids, fucking spit, urine, all that around the urethra, okay? Especially somebody else's urine around the urethra. Things can happen. Bacteria can get transferred there. If you're really dehydrated, that can also make things worse. If you're doing something like sounding, you're at risk for getting a UTI. Now, most people with penises don't have familiarity with UTIs because it is more difficult to get a UTI, though not impossible to get a UTI if you have a penis. So if you're somebody with a penis who likes to do anal penetration with no condom on, or if you like to do sounding, take some d-mannose the day before, the day of, the day after your scene, all right? This one is like a relatively high dose. I think the serving size says like 4 capsules. When I'm taking this, I do 2 in the morning and 2 at night, and that works for me. I'm not a doctor. Talk to them if you want more detailed medical advice about what a proper dose is for this. That's just what I happen to do, and it works for me. And this is really helpful for preventing UTIs. And if you are someone who is prone to UTIs and that prevents you from doing things you'd want to be doing, like oral, like crotch rope, like, doing something with like spit on the genitalia or sounding, like this might be a really, really good option for you. And it's saved my butt more times than I can count. I will take this sometimes if I can feel like a UTI is coming on because maybe I've been really dehydrated or something else, and I go, oh crap, I'm getting... If you know the feeling, right? And I'll take like the 4 capsule, like the max dose of this all at once, drink a ton of water, next day no problems. This really, really helps, and I hope that for somebody who needs this, they listen to this video and they find this. And the brand doesn't matter. This is just one of them. Get a brand that's reputable that you like or that your doctor recommends. But this is just really good. Also, if you're somebody who likes to do like omoroshi, if you like wearing diapers, if you're doing anything that's like trapping moisture, especially things like urine, either you're not letting it be released or you're trapping it against the skin by wearing something like a diaper. There's so many options, so many ways to use this. Please consider this because getting a UTI, especially chronic UTIs, not a very fun time. All right, now the last thing that I want to talk about here is it's sort of an aftercare thing and also like just another practical thing to have kind of in your dungeon kit. And that would be ginger chews. And this is not just like a, ooh, have chocolate in your aftercare kit kind of thing. Though a lot of people do like ginger chews. If they're not chocolate people, they may like ginger chews more because it's not like super, super sweet and cloying the way that chocolate can be. But the reason why I recommend this for a dungeon kit is like you can get dizzy doing BDSM. If you're a person that when you like sometimes when you stand up too quickly you get dizzy, or if you get dizzy from doing suspension or being inverted or just like being in one position for a really long time, or like whatever, maybe you're just somebody who's prone to dizzy spells, this can be really helpful for helping you feel less dizzy and less nauseous when you've been doing a scene. I actually picked this up from doing pole dancing because when you're especially new to pole dancing, you tend to get dizzy when you're doing certain moves on like the spin pole, and this is just a quick way to do that and help you feel better. It doesn't work for everyone in all scenarios, but for a lot of people it does help to actually have ginger chews and take one. You can also look up at the ceiling, just chew on it, look at the ceiling, kind of get oriented to essentially is a part of the world that's not moving. It doesn't really have movement in it because it's straight up, and that can really help you deal with dizziness or with nausea if you're having that during a scene. Of course, again, with all of this stuff, whether it be the d-mannose or the ginger chews or anything else I've talked about here today, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, I don't know your medical history, your conditions, any of this stuff. I don't care what it is. If you're taking other medication, if you have a heart condition, if you have diabetes, whatever, talk to your doctor about what you want to take. Talk to your doctor about the activities you want to do in maybe a more general way. Like, don't say, I want to do primal play. Say, like, I want to try judo, okay? Like, you can find ways to talk about it smartly that will not out you to your medical professionals, but just tell them the kinds of activities generally that you might want to be doing, the kinds of things that might be helpful for you. Get their okay first. Some things that I recommend here are going to work for you. Some of them aren't, but not a doctor, just talking about things that have helped me and why they've helped me and recommending them to all of you. And I think with that being said, that is more or less all the advice that I wanted to share for getting into new, interesting, weird things that you can do in a dungeon. So hopefully they give you all some ideas or some solutions to problems, because I know issues like periods and UTIs are not sexy, fun things that we like to talk about in BDSM, but they are part of being human and they're part of the kink experience. And like, why wouldn't I want to share things if something might be really helpful for one of you? So with that being said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm not sponsored by any of the brands I talked about here. I will put information down below for like brand names, where to find stuff if I do recommend anything specifically, but this is all just for my dome. None of these companies know that I exist, nor do they care. These are all just my honest thoughts, just to be totally clear. And with that being said, I would love to hear your thoughts about this one in a comment down below. Do you have any of your own dungeon tips and tricks that are kind of weird, unusual, that have really helped you either with a niche kink or with an uncommon problem, or just you think are really good that, you know, people don't always talk about when it comes to going to a dungeon or doing BDSM play more generally? And with that being said, if you did enjoy this and are ready, please do subscribe, because I make videos twice a week about all different kink and BDSM related subjects. And finally, if you want to support what I do, the best you can do that is with Patreon. A link to that will be down below. If you do already support there, thank you so much. It means the absolute world to me. And until I see you all next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.